restricted by all of the wetlands and the steep slopes and everything else that would be a problem anyway. So we're putting restrictions on those, and then that property would be sold at a reduced price. In addition to that, there are two easements that I would be gifting to the town. One would be for trails. Seems that in most of the studies that I've seen, it's important for the town to be sort of a recreational center. And so I'm proposing to gift trails that basically crisscross the whole 70 acres. They are not, I don't think I marked them on the map that you have, but they are on this one as a suggestion. You know, the purpose of this meeting today is just a brief presentation. My hope is that in the future we would have some workshops where we can talk about this and get your input into what I'm trying to do here. But I'm proposing trails that would go east-west and north-south across the property. It would go north-south to the Harold Clare property along the old railroad bed, cut across the middle of the property, and essentially go over to the school along the edge of the town property here, and north and south would get us to potentially the center of town, and that would be a start on the trail system going north and south. Going east and west, I would propose a trail system coming from Route 82, the intersection of Route 82 and 83, coming across the property and running along this way, going all the way here, and going out here and up here and across to the Blackburn property. So this would get us with trails across this property in each direction. It would get us to the Blackburn property and would get us to the Pulver property, Harold Clare property on this side. And so those are easements for trails. The last thing that I would be gifting, and I don't know whether it's anything that you really want, to be honest with you, but the remaining commercial property has potentially sites for some type of a town waste disposal system. Pretty clear that that's a critical part of everything that you're trying to do here. So I would gift to the town easements on at least two parcels, this parcel here, which is probably about 3 acres, and this parcel here, which is about 4 acres. I would gift some easements over that to put a town septic system of some type that would serve what I call the southeast quadrant of the town of Pine Plains. I don't think it can serve the whole town, nor do I want it to try to do that. There would be a completion of a town road, complete a loop in the commercial property, and as I said, there would be 10 or 12 acres that wouldn't be restricted, that would be left behind for commercial development, and that's it. The only thing I'll say beyond that is two things. One, the proposal is basically unconditional, not asking for anything in return. I have suggested to your supervisor that perhaps this could be thought of as a challenge gift of some type. I'm giving property for a youth center. Perhaps the Catholic Church would do likewise and give property for a town hall. I'm giving property for town housing. Perhaps the Catholic Church would consider affordable housing on their property. I'm giving property or gifting easements for trails. Perhaps the Catholic Church would consider trails over their property. It would also be a challenge to other people, basically, to say, okay, we've got the trail to the edge of the Pulver property, where does it go now? Hopefully over the Pulver property to Thompson Pond, to Stissy Mountain, to Durst property. Going the other way, could go to Blackburn property, to David Cody's property, to Patchen Mill, to the Adams property, to the Durst property. And you could have essentially a trail system circling the town. That would be a wonderful dream for all of us, I think, come true. Could it happen? I don't know. All I'm doing is stepping up and saying, I'm willing to try to make this happen in some way. This is a jump start, perhaps. If you use it in that way, maybe you can get a lot more out of it than what I'm offering. So that's basically it. Any questions?
Are you open to other ideas for some of the like some of the gift places?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Great.
Absolutely. I only,
I figured that.
yeah, I'm only making a tentative proposal.
Got
This
it.
is lines drawn on a piece of paper. That's what I said in the beginning, is that my hope would be that we would have some workshop meetings where we can talk about this. There may be reasons why you would say, I would prefer property elsewhere on this piece. There are reasons why I chose this, but you know, I'm open to all kinds of discussion. Trails can be located kind of anywhere to a certain extent. These seem to be logical based on property lines that I'm proposing.
Right now, though, this isn't a town road, right?
That is not a town road.
So
no.
you would, essentially, with all this
It
would become.
It would become a town road, so that this property could be used. It's my hope that this property would be sufficient to take care of the commercial needs for the town of Pine Plains for many years to come. It would be my hope that we wouldn't force a situation where you suddenly build all kinds of buildings on this piece of property because it has to be developed. And you know, I would prefer to see what happened for many years in the town of Pine Plains under the control of Don. For many years, things happened. They happened, I believe, for the most part, correctly and properly, and often without a lot of plans. If anything could happen here that would make this happen without my having to spend tons of money to create all kinds of plans that we might throw away. Most of you probably know that partners in this piece of property that are now past history spent supposedly something on the order of $1.5 million to create a set of plans for this property. It's waste paper, right? Yeah. So those are my comments. Any other questions?
Bill, what's the centerpiece of property that you have in there?
I'm sorry?
The center piece that you have,
This piece right here?
yes.
This is drawn for a specific purpose. These two parcels, which were the first parcels that I mentioned, are hopefully going to go to local people in the town of Pine Plains. You know, can I say that they are? There are no contracts, but we're in discussions with several people about that. That's the best I can say at this point.
With significant conservation easements on.
Yes, conservation easements would be put on these properties before they are sold.
Mm-hmm. Would they allow any development?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, this in particular, because
The larger one, the larger
the
parcel.
larger one
Yeah.
would probably be done something like Greg did with his property when he put easements on his property. You might see pick out a 2 or 3 acre building envelope on the top someplace where somebody could have a unique home on the top. We would not want it on the steep slopes. We wouldn't want it on a prominent, peak of the top, but there are plenty of places where a house could be built up there that would not be visible from any other location. There might be a building envelope down here, along Route 83. There's good developable land, here. There might be some kind of a building envelope because somebody owning that property might like to have a horse stable down there or something like that. And this would definitely have a building site on it, but it would be restricted to one building site. Okay?
So 3 residential lots with building envelopes, appropriate for them, sorry, just to confirm, these are 2 separate lots? Or this
No,
is the
these
same?
are one lot.
One lot,
This
okay.
this is proposed as one lot. It could be, I wrote it as 2 lots, you're right, on the thing that I gave you. I separated this as the wetlands and the steep slopes.
Sure.
But there is one person interested in purchasing all of this.
Gotcha.
So this theoretically would be one lot, this would be one lot, this commercial property would be one lot, and I suppose you'd think the town property would be one lot, but that could be simply a lot line adjustment. So the basic plan that I would like to follow through on would be like a 4-lot minor subdivision sometime. Okay?
All right. Thank you so